If you're running a business, you will find from time to time you're going to have some sort of challenge coming at you, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily, sometimes almost that's how you live in a life of dealing with challenges. But actually some of those challenges are positive challenges and some are negative challenges. So for example, if you're owed money from a client and they are not paying and not responding, that's a challenge and has an impact on your cash flow, etc. Well, there's ways to fix that. There's ways to prevent that from happening. But equally, there could be a challenge where you're implementing a new system or you're developing a new product that's going to allow your business to grow and go to the next level, but you're just having a challenge in the implementation and the design process. It's a positive challenge versus a negative challenge. And every week we talk to our clients and help them with their challenges, whatever they present to us. And every quarter we have 2 events where we invite clients to come along to an in-person event with us and see if we can not just only use our input to deal with their challenges, but as it says on the tin, the 5% mastermind is we want the mastermind of other people to help. And these days are my favourite days. And this week, I've just come back from a 1-day event at a beautiful hotel in the New Forest where we had a whole bunch of our clients come down and spend some time with us and spend some time with each other. And we brought the topic for the day to give them a framework to work to. And that topic was around the word why. And we opened up the conversation with, why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why? Why are you chasing your goals? Why are you doing the work? Why have you brought these challenges today? And it got people thinking. And Vicky did a little presentation to start the day off, and she introduced the 6 basic human needs. This is taken from Tony Robbins, and lots of people have come up with different versions of this, but I think this really sums up what most of us are aiming to do. Some of us are looking for some certainty. We want certainty. And you can have a combination of all of these, and sometimes you can have 1 or 2 that are priority. They're the driving force. And it's that driving force that helps you understand your why. So certainty is something. You want everything to be certain. Variety, weirdly, the opposite to certainty. Uncertainty. Some people require huge amounts of variety. Then we've got significance. You want to feel significant about who you are, your status, how you feel about a bit of pride. Connection with other people, connection with your community, with your world. Growth. You want to see yourself grow and improve. I've surprised myself that at 59 years old, I spend more time learning today than I ever did at school. I enjoy the growth of continual learning and development. And contribution, your contribution to society, to work, to the family, to whatever. Now, each of these words obviously means something to different people, and we could work them out where you could have some things going on in your life and you could put a little score system alongside it, and you could say, well, what are the important vehicles of your life? And it might be that you've got family, and it might be that you've got your business, it might be that you've got your friends, it might be that you've got your sport and activities that you do. Whatever those vehicles are that serve your day-to-day, the things that you do in your life, you just simply score them and you say, well, how important are these? Well, this could be a 6 out of 10, it could be a 9 out of 10, it could be a 10 out of 10, it could be, we're talking about family here, it could be 11, growth could be a 4, contribution could be a 6, business might be all these different numbers here. So I'm just making those numbers up. You could just score that yourself. And in doing so, what you would do is you would identify your highest scoring elements. And you might say, well, actually, significance is my highest scoring. And that will just give you an indication of what drives you, what drives your thoughts. And it's not permanent. It changes from time to time based on how your life changes. So as a parent with young children, you might have a different view of life to a parent who has grandchildren, as I do now. So when we were looking after our own little children when they were little, everything was different in my mind and my thought process and what I was doing. Now that the children have all grown up and got their own families, we're free to think about other things, but we also have a different driver towards them and the grandchildren, etc. So life changes and your thoughts change. But if you bring this back to the question of why, the driver behind most problems and challenges is something to do with this. And what often happens is that we forget. We get so caught up in the challenge that we forget why we're doing it. And because we forget why we're doing it, everything suddenly becomes very, very hard. Even down to the fact that we don't have the energy to get up and do the thing that we want to do. If you knew that your business was going in a certain direction and was going to give you the results that you needed to fulfill the lifestyle that you wanted, your energy levels would rise and your urgency to it and your process for getting to the end goal would be so much faster. You would shorten the time span it takes to get to achieve your goals. So on Wednesday this week, when we had a group of people come to us, the questions that were coming at us fell into different camps. There were people who were battling with staff members and team members and wanted to know how to solve that problem. There were people who were looking for sales and marketing. Sales and marketing was a big topic. People wanted more sales, a better process, a better campaign. There were people who recognized that they wanted to do things within their business, but they were also conscious of their family and spouse and things going on in their personal life, and they didn't want to upset either by suddenly going full in on their business ideas. And when we sat around the table and we talked about this with a whole group of people and everybody had some input into each individual person's challenge, we realized that actually often people came back to these in their thought process to go, okay, yeah, so that's probably what I'm looking for, is a bit of certainty, or I am looking for variety, or I am looking for some growth or contribution. So you might want to consider that when you're looking at your problem or challenge that you've got. And the question would be to you is, right now, what is your biggest problem, your biggest challenge that you're dealing with today, that if you solved that problem would make all other problems pretty insignificant? If you could actually solve that one problem. And if you identified what that problem and challenge was, the next question would be, why are we doing it? What's the reason for this? And I'll give you an example where this really became obvious. There was a chap who wanted some marketing advice, and he's been running some campaigns for the last couple of years, running his own campaigns, doing his own marketing. And literally, we know him well, and he talks a lot about his campaigns that he's been doing, and he's been fighting with them all the way. That's all I can describe it as, one big fight. He doesn't like doing it. He's not very good at it. He finds it hard. He doesn't enjoy it. It's not his job. His job is something completely different. His business is something different, but he needs marketing. So he's been on courses and he's learned and he's gone through all the process and he's done everything he possibly can. So rather than him fixing his problem, he just came to us and said, I did this campaign, it had a certain element of results, but it was really hard to do. So I'm thinking about doing another campaign that might be a bit easier to run. What do you think? And when we asked him about what his drivers were for his business, why was he doing all this? And he started to paint the picture of having a business that could run without him, having a business that he'd only needed to work part-time. He was nearly there. He's been running his business for a while. He's got it really highly organized, but he still hasn't got all his time back to be free to do the things that he wants to do. And one of the simple answers that came out of that conversation was to simply say, why are you now thinking up your next marketing campaign? Why don't you find somebody to run that for you? And through the conversations that went round the room, somebody said, Did you not know that there's a huge portfolio of essentially mums who have taken a career break to look after their children and are looking for a little bit of part-time work? Somebody would welcome 2 mornings a week to run your marketing campaign because prior to having children, they were a senior marketing executive in a big company doing incredible things, but they've chosen to take a bit of a career break because of their family. They've looked at their significant needs and decided that family are important to them. And there were several ladies in the room saying, if that was me when I had my children, I would jump at the chance of doing that sort of work. And suddenly we shifted the problem back to the why. Why? He wants time off. He wants to reduce his hours. He definitely wants to reduce his stress. And when he described the the problem he was trying to solve, all he was doing was taking the stress that he had before of running his campaigns and trying to dull down that stress and create another campaign and somehow figure out a way he could do that faster to get his time back. Well, of course, the obvious answer is don't do it. Outsource it. Of course, then he came back with a problem. He said, well, that'll cost me money. Well, of course it'll cost you money. You'll need to employ somebody. So why don't you just go and do one brand new customer yourself, take the proceeds from that new customer and invest it straight back into the new person and buy back your time? The why was his time. The why was his need not to be in the office all the time. And when he analysed it, he was spending a huge chunk of his time just trying to do these campaigns, which he hated doing. He wasn't very good at. He didn't like it, and he was frustrated. It was kind of like teaching pigs to sing. Frustrates the pig, irritates you. That's how he was feeling about the whole thing. So don't do it. Don't do it. And what's remarkable about when we have conversations with clients' challenges and problems is if we can get them to articulate why they're doing this, you often find the clue is in the why. For example, this chap, his clue was in the time. He wants his time back. Well, let's have your time back now. He's starting to achieve his goal now. And so now he's off on a plan that he's going to get a new customer. Let's say it takes him 3 months to find that new customer. He'll take that money from that 3 months work that he's doing and immediately go and employ somebody. That might take 3 months to onboard that person and get them up to speed. And therefore, in 6 months' time, he's got all of that time back through a little bit of change of direction. It's logical, absolutely logical. And I know him well, so I know it's the right thing for him to do. It's absolutely the right thing for him to do. But the point of all of this is to say, do we know what our why is? Now, that leads us into another question. Do you know why you're doing it? Do you know what your goals, your dreams, your objectives are of not just your business, your entire life? Because it all is mixed in. I don't know you. I don't know what your life looks like. But a lot of our clients come to us. They're running their business with their partners and a small team. Some of them have got their family involved as running the business. All sorts of businesses we deal with. And in amongst all of that, they are busy making a living so they can pay their bills. Great. You've got a business that's got some sustainability to it. It generates income. It pays your bills. You've got a car and a house and some holidays, and you can feed yourself and clothe yourself and keep yourself warm. Fantastic. Why are you doing it? Because that why to set up a business to look after the family has been achieved. Now it's running. What's the next thing? Well, we've got to be careful that the next thing isn't some sort of parachute mode, some sort of survival mode, because the cost of living has gone up, because the economy's, there's a bit of a fight on in some parts of the economy. And as a result, you're just like, I just got to get some customers to pay my bills. And that's a horrible place to be. Absolute horrible place to be. And so part of that why is saying, well, okay, why are we doing it? Why am I building this business? To the point, it could be that you're going in the wrong direction completely, or the direction just needs to shift, or you just need to do more of what you're already doing and just get better at it, in which case now we can work out what the clear steps are to get you to a why. This is why we run our 90-day program, so that we can check in to what your goals are, what your why is, identify what the micro plans are for that for the next 90 days, and then go achieve those steps that you need to achieve that 90-day goal. If you do that and it works, you've now got a formula that's going to help you break the habits, change the thinking that needs to change the focus that needs to change, so that you can accelerate and achieve your goals and dreams faster. That's just a little insight into what we did this week. I thought I'd just share that with you on this video this week. If you've got any comments, stick them in the comments below. Otherwise, if you want to reach out and join us at the next event, all the links are in the description below, and we'll see you soon. Take care.